To Derek Nolan, the whole thing felt like the biggest practical joke ever. Two assholes like Chris and himself could just open a pain clinic, and nobody could do anything about it. Derek figured they were getting away with it because the basic transaction that was taking place, a patient getting a prescription from a licensed doctor, was legal. Whatever the patients did with the pills after leaving the clinic, that was on them. Same with the doctors. They might be violating the law inside their offices, not following diagnostic guidelines or something. But Chris and Derek weren't doctors. Neither of them even had a college degree, so what they didn't know couldn't hurt them. How could they be held responsible for the way people with medical degrees prescribed medicine? Besides, they weren't going to quit just as they were starting to make real money. Chris had grown up rich, and Derek had enjoyed some flush years. When Derek was 19, making good money as a plumber, he'd bought a $60,000 Mustang Cobra convertible and had his own house. Later, he'd owned his own companies, pulled down 6 figures in the good years. But this was different. They'd tapped into something big and rich and desperate here, something that made people line up around the block at 6 a.m. every morning. The clinic accepted credit cards, but almost nobody paid that way. Cash poured into the clinic so fast that they'd given up on using their register. No cash register could take in $20,000 to $30,000 a day. It took too long to push all those buttons and ring someone up, and the cash drawer was too small. They had to empty it too often, and it was taking time away from processing the patients. So Derek had just grabbed a couple of 9-gallon garbage cans, the kind you see in bathrooms, and stuck one under the customer window. When it filled up, he'd cart it back to Chris's office to be counted and stick the empty one under the window. Every day seemed like a miracle. Every day they were amazed by the things they saw. Every day they realized that this thing was bigger than what they'd thought it was just the day before. Oxycodone was growing out of control, like black mold in a Florida bathroom, and they'd suddenly become a major supplier for a half-dozen states. By summer 2008, they were seeing 100 patients a day. The little bungalow couldn't handle that amount of traffic. As the days had grown hotter, they discovered that the 2 old air conditioning units cut into the waiting room walls were completely inadequate for the job. The waiting room had about 30 chairs, and there were sometimes another dozen people standing. At regular intervals, a row of automatic spray air fresheners on the wall spritzed the lukewarm stench. It didn't help much. The bathroom was always a mess, so Derek took out the paper towel dispenser and installed an air dryer. The cleaning lady started coming in early to get a head start on the daily cleanup. She found hypodermic needles in the garbage cans in the parking lot, rattling inside empty soda cans.